And away we go. It's the DFS Other presented by Awesemo.com, also brought to you in part by Yahoo DFS. We'll talk more about them momentarily. They have a small little NFL tournament coming up this weekend that we will promote. Dan Trevor, Josh Engelman along with you on this Friday morning, maybe Thursday night, depending on when you watch. Pleasure to have you all with us. Josh, how the hell are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually a little excited to talk about this slate, given how bad the Thursday night slate was. Absolutely atrocious. So it's good to actually name pitchers today.
Okay, I was going to say, is that just masochism or like? Is it just...
I mean, the first one. I mean, every name that I see on the DK list of pitchers until I get to Chris Bassett is like, okay, that guy's decent. Where today you started at Verlander and you're like, I guess Rich Hill for 2 innings. Corbin, that was like a functional person, and then it just went off the rails after that. So at least we have something to talk about.
Yeah, and I'll say there are some cheaper pitchers too who may be at least intriguing to talk about, which is always nice when that works out for us on a 13-game slate. We will get to pitchers momentarily. Just to tell you, Yahoo DFS, they have their rake-free $1 million baller. I will point out it's 150 lineup max now, and I know we've talked about it on our shows. You've seen plenty of it on Twitter. If you want to max enter, start entering now.
Yeah.
And this is Yahoo, we love you. Hopefully this is an evolutionary process of figuring out whether they want to be an MME site and they want to go 150 max with CSVs and global swaps, or if they want to be catering to your 10 to 20 player pool, a 10 to 20 lineup player. And great. I like testing things. But if you want to enter 150 lineups, start now. Because it's going to be long.
It's going to take a while.
So do that. Figure it out. If you figure out another way to do it, let us know. I'd be happy to hear about that as well. But it is a $20 entry, no management fee. So rake free, whatever word you want to use for the tournament over there. I will say this, Yahoo, Fantasy Draft, these other smaller sites, they're bankroll builders. Take the time, understand the scoring, understand how they work, move on from there. Still play DK, FT, like not saying not to, but understand the scoring systems. Take the time over there. We have is it still Awesemo over there for the $30?
It is.
Okay. So can you fill in the details there for me, Josh? The $30 is
really easy. We have a link to sign up. It is generally found in Emacs Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article that comes out every single day. There's going to actually be a Yahoo specific one tomorrow too. Yep. Today, I'm doing. See, I already.
It's fine. Just let it go. Just lean into the wave. Just let it. Just let it happen.
This morning, when you wake up, check it out. No, but Emacs Spotlight Hitters and Stacks article has the information at the top every single day to sign up. You'll find a link in there, and you can use the promo code Awesemo. You can get up to $30 in Yahoo Sports Rewards points, which is at least one entry in the $1 million baller. But I mean, you can put 10 into, let's see, what do we have available still?
Yeah, they have a 3. They have the $10 one that I think still has entries available to it as well. So you have some flexibility in how you use those points and use it, right? Like you use that extra cash, use it to play. I think that, and I will say this also, we give away a lot of stuff over on Twitter. So follow Awesemo_com and Awesemo NFL and the like, but follow all the handles. All the sites are giving away things pretty regularly. So I know retweeting some of them feels a little dirty, but hey, an extra entry into the Millionaire Maker or into the $1 million baller, you never know how that works out and what stack you get to or what construction you get to. Take the chance and hit the retweet button, like them, whatever they need you to do. Give yourself a chance to maybe get an extra entry or two.
It's free money, honestly. Like, you don't ever see anybody being like, I really don't want to use this coupon on canned goods or whatever. People, you just use it all the time. Or like, I got to buy one, get one appetizer at the restaurant. No, like that's all that it is. That's what that retweet does. And you could use that on some canned goods and save 60 cents, but you can get that free entry and win like legitimate, aggressively life-changing money for you.
Amazing. And I will also say to Sam Darnold, I don't know who you've been kissing or whose straws you've been using, man, but get right. Come on. This is not good. This is not good. Wayne's World, for those of you who remember, I thought I had mono once for a whole month. Just turned out I was really bored. He's a Jet, so that's possible. He might just be like, guys, I feel really run down. I don't think I can suit up this week. Oh, he has mono. Just kicking back in his crib and watching some TV. It's just better than being out there.
So, anyway, fair, yeah, I wouldn't really want to play for the Jets either.
Nope, I'm a Jets fan. I wouldn't want to play for the Jets. Let's talk about this slate. We do have, as you mentioned, some top flight pitching at the top, and Garrett Cole stands out here at 12-2 as a likely cash game option, but we have some more following right behind him. Kansas City doesn't, as a team on the year, strike out a ton, but they also don't hit for a ton of power. You got Scherzer at 11-4, Kershaw against the Mets at 10-8, Charlie Morton against the Angels, another team that doesn't strike out, has some power, but now they're without Shohei Ohtani for the rest of the year because of the surgery he's having. And Luis Castillo checks in as our one last 10K plus pitcher on DK. We'll check in on Yahoo prices momentarily. Is it sort of a Garrett Cole in cash and then figure out percentages on the others just simply based on upside and skill for each of these pitchers? Maybe.
So clearly, I think that Cole pretty clearly stands out as the highest ceiling option of all those 10K guys. I almost said the Chiefs. That's how cool. Even I'm on to football. The Royals aren't fantastic. Not like Garrett Cole needs a good matchup or a bad matchup. He's just going to roll through most teams one way or the other. I don't really want any part of Scherzer in Atlanta against Atlanta in Washington. The guy that stands out to me, and it's going to fully depend on if Trout plays tomorrow. But if there is no Trout and no Ohtani, I think that Charlie Morton becomes really interesting.
Yep. I think that makes a ton of sense. And Adam and I talked about it with the Yankees lineup coming into the doubleheader, and lineups matter every day, but even more so this time of year with teams that are out of it deciding to shut players down or at least give them more rest than you might see, and teams that are in it shutting two players down and giving them more rest. So you're going to have to check those lineups. This isn't NBA where you need to be persistent up to 7:05 lineup lock waiting for scratches, but it's fairly consistent in the same way that you want to be checking those lineups, checking how odds change, seeing line movement, watching our shows obviously over on YouTube. They're free. So check out the deeper dive and live before lock when we have it available as we transition between Major League Baseball and NFL and NBA and NHL. So much damn content, but
it just never stops.
As we talk about it here, I think you're spot on. That makes a ton of sense to me. Morton, if this is a Troutless and a Ohtani-less lineup, we know it's going to be without Ohtani.
Yeah.
It just makes him light years better than this matchup seems on paper looking at it. If you check FanGraphs and see the Angels strike out, fifth less or fourth less in least in the league against righties, that would rocket him up in matchup wise. 10-6, obviously more palatable than 12-2 for Garrett Cole. All of these pitchers have upside. And I will say from a tournament perspective, if you're MMEing, Kershaw could go out and have 14 strikeouts. It's a legitimate, and I know that's a cop-out for me, but these are legitimately all pitchers I would be happy having exposure to if I was playing 150 lineups, simply because the upside is there with each of them. I feel like maybe Castillo scares me the most of these guys, though he has as much upside as anybody, simply because we've seen walks from him be a little bit of a problem at times. But I like all of them. Do you have a concern for any of these? Is Scherzer maybe lowest on the totem pole because of the matchup?
Yeah, and I don't know how much they're still going to run him out there.
Right.
Not that I think he's essentially back, but I don't think they're in any situation where they're going to push him either. I mean, Scherzer is usually a guy that they have to rip off of the mound, and I don't think that's a scenario right now. If he gets to 90 pitches through, let's say he throws 95 pitches and he finishes the 6th. Yep. I'd be surprised if he goes back out to pitch the 7th, whereas if this game was in May, he's absolutely pitching the 7th. Yes. That's my only concern with Scherzer. He's definitely not. I would expect him to not go as deep as anybody else in this game, just from a ceiling of pitches perspective.
Yep, that makes total sense.
I do think it's interesting. Every single one of those guys in the 10K range, and this is not something that I look at all, but it's in front of my face right now. Kershaw, Morton, Castillo have all averaged 21 DK points a game this season. Scherzer 24, Garrett Cole 28. So we're not getting a guy slipping into the 10K range that doesn't belong here. I don't know, Ronaldo Lopez was 90-something hundred nights ago. So these guys deserve to be here. I don't really have one guy that stands out as scary though.
Yep, which is the way it should be.
Yeah,
right. I think that the Scherzer point is the right one. Can we project him for 7 innings and 110 pitches? No, we can't. Can we project him for even 6 and 100? It's been sketchy. It's been one of the things. If they're up of all the pitchers here, if they're up 6-0, Scherzer may get pulled. And I'm not saying to account for that stuff, but if we're trying to break down who scares us the most from the factors outside of our projections, I think that makes a ton of sense for Scherzer. So I'm with you, Morton, Cole, and then figuring out the rest if Morton gets that Troutless lineup. Then we get Andrew Heaney, Syndergaard with whatever catcher situation is happening there. A mess with the Mets again, though they are only somehow 2 games back of the wild card. Bless their souls if they can make that happen. Odorizzi, Soroka, and you have Bissett at 8,400, Alcantara at 81. So we'll sort of make this a higher end mid-tier. Heaney gets Tampa Bay. Syndergaard gets the Dodgers. Can't say that's a great matchup. Odorizzi against Cleveland has some upside, but the lefty bats have more power for the Indians. Soroka against Washington, I can't necessarily go there. And Bassett's in Bissett. Sorry, I do that every time. Bissett's in Texas.
It's not Bassett?
It's Dave Lochran has gotten in my freaking head on every name I pronounce, and I always get Chris Bissett or Bassett wrong. It's always him. I used to also say Nolan Arenado for some reason. I couldn't get Arenado in my head, but
I can get behind that one. No pronunciation on Baseball Reference for.
While you talk about these pitchers, I'll find it. But
it's just another sea of like none of these guys from Cole to whatever we determine this guy's last name to be. I mean, he's the Chris B is the only one with a legitimate quality matchup. Everybody else before that, Nats, Indians, Dodgers, Rays, Diamondbacks aren't good, but it's not like it's facing the Tigers or the White Sox or something. Angels, Mets, Braves, like even the Royals they're a decent hitting team. They just don't profile in like a good fantasy way. I don't love any of this. Heaney, I guess, is always intriguing to me, but he's gonna be. I mean, he's got Morton on the opposite side, so his odds of getting a win are not exactly great. Syndergaard against the Dodgers, not really interesting. Odorizzi against Cleveland, not really interesting. Soroka's not a strikeout guy. I mean, we might be talking about the Bass Man.
It's Bassett.
Fair enough.
I just listened to the Oakland A's play-by-play guy. So
that's good work.
That's where I go. As a former play-by-play announcer myself, I trust that they have the pronunciation at least down pat for the players on their team. Other players on other teams, who the hell knows? But so if we're right now looking at this slate and we're saying we have a Coors Field game, we have an opportunity to have Texas too, which probably has a high over-under. I'll check that momentarily. Do you see anyone you're most comfortable with so far? Is it Morton and Cole and then feeling a little sketchy beyond that?
I don't even know if sketchy is the right word.
Right. Well, not fully confident in the matchup.
I'm not really confident in any pitcher. I'm not confident.
Okay.
But I have no actual confidence in really anybody outside of Garrett Cole. I can see anyone from Bassett up putting up like a 25+ DK day. They're all just sort of like not great matchups, not great spots. Everybody's priced where they should be. It's not like you're getting a benefit to get Jake Odorizzi at $9K. Everybody looks like the pricing is really tight and kind of scary. I mean, it's not like Cole's some bargain. He's 12-2. Now, there's certainly a pitcher on the slate that will pair with him very well, but we'll get there, I guess.
Let's continue on. You have Alcantara in San Francisco, 8,100. He is a pitcher for those Miami Marlins. He's flashed some upside. Clearly, last time out went 9 innings, 4 hits, 8 Ks, 2 walks, 11 ground balls. Last 3 games, 11, 10, and 11 ground balls. Strikeouts haven't hit double digits, but he's clearly been very efficient in what he's done. We've seen him have upside all year, and now he gets Oracle Park. Is this somebody that you consider pairing, or is this a guy in a tournament that maybe is even a SP1 option?
So he certainly looks good. Anytime you can get him, I think he's a functionally solid pitcher. Anytime that you can get anybody in San Francisco, that's great. Although it's not really like much of a park shift for him. He's either pitching home games in Miami or pitching here in San Francisco. So he's getting a pitcher's park one way or the other. he's so expensive. 8,100. Here are his salaries previous to this: 8K, 78, 68, 66, 56.
Mm-hmm.
It was 5,200 on July 31st. I don't know if he can. I love the spot. I don't see how he can pay off 8,100. He's got a 15% strikeout rate to lefties this year.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's not a dominant pitcher from the strikeout perspective. It's really about him going deep into games.
Yeah.
And it's whip, right? It's the idea that he's not giving up a ton of walks, he's not giving up a ton of hits. He's not giving up a ton of hard contact. So you get into this world where 6 to 7 strikeouts and 8 innings is it's not projectable, but it's at least within the realm of possible outcomes that Alcantara could give you that. And this matchup especially, yes, the Giants are not necessarily a team that strikes out a ton, but they're also a team that doesn't do a lot with their offense. 23% on the year, 87 WRC plus, an ISO of 170 against righties. And this is, again, entire year active roster. I like Alcantara enough here to at least talking about a player pool or figuring out further research for Friday. He'd be in the mix for me to see. I hear you on 8,100. Talked to Adam, talked to Dave about the past 2 nights. Also, I've thrown prices out the window on DK. I've sort of said that day over day, I don't know what they're smoking, and I assume it's really good because they're in a new headquarters and they make lots of money.
I'll have to send an email.
It's like, where's my damn VIP?
Yeah.
But I think the interesting thing here is to suspend the idea that what Alcantara was last time out matters, and just take it on this slate and compare him to the other pitchers. And at 8,100, I feel somewhat comfortable there comparatively to the other pitchers I'd have to roster, especially talking about Soroka or Bassett or Odorizzi in their spots. Tanaka against Toronto intrigues me a little bit. Lucchesi, no thanks. And then you have Savali and Anthony K. Leak. I don't know where else you're going. Do you go to a Tyler Beatty? Like, what do you see? Who's the one name that you feel like you'd pair here with one of the top end options?
Okay, before I go any further, I had absolutely no idea that Alcantara went for 41.7 in his last start. I did not know that at all. Do you have any idea what time that game happened? Was that in the 4:00 set on Sunday? That's the only thing that would make sense to me.
Oh, because it was on the smaller afternoon slate?
I would have never looked at it, and that's why I don't know that it happened.
I'll check.
I did a show Sunday. No, I didn't do a show on Sunday. That's why I don't know it.
Yep.
It was the first weekend of the NFL. Yeah, so I didn't care about baseball at all. That makes way more sense now that I walk myself through it. I couldn't figure it out. I was like, 40. What? How did I never speak about this? I didn't do a show Monday morning, so I had no idea. Perfect.
I'm glad we got through that together.
Tanaka, I guess, against Toronto is interesting, but he's kind of an enigma at this point.
Yep.
Hasn't been great at Seattle for 31, but that's Seattle, so there's that. Lucchesi in Colorado, absolutely not. Savali against Minnesota is probably worth a dice roll, but 7K is still pricey. Pitching's hard. No Danny Duffy. Hauser against St. Louis. Is that where we're at now?
Are we?
I don't.
I know Hauser's been discussed as a potential play on different shows across. I am not necessarily a big believer in what he can be. I know he's shown some upside. St. Louis has clearly had some offensive problems and necessarily not a ton of power. Is the price point cheap enough for you at 5,700? Is that what it comes down to, that he just becomes cheap enough against a St. Louis team that doesn't have a ton of upside on the year as far as power and as far as offensive fortitude, as it were?
It's close enough. So he has 2 starts against St. Louis since August 21st. He pitched against them on the 21st and then ran it right back on the 27th. He was 5,200 in the first start, 5K in the second one. Went for 21 and 10. So, I figure he splits the difference, goes for like 14.
That's how this works. Yeah.
Here, which at that price tag, if he gets you 15, right, that's good. And
I dig that.
Not dead.
8 over under -124 in favor of St. Louis and Adam Wainwright. seems like
I don't hate the idea of Hauser there then.
What's that? 4.2 implied total, probably 4.3 implied total for St. Louis, with a 3.7 or so for Milwaukee. That seems reasonable. Yeah,
that's manageable.
I can get on board with that. And then we have Brock Burke, which feels much more like the jerk in high school who played quarterback and shortstop and would relentlessly shove me into lockers. But I kid. That was middle school when I got shoved into lockers, not high school.
I could never get into a middle school locker. It was barely enough to fit a coat.
I was 4'10" and like 65 pounds until 7th grade. So I wedged in nice. I got in, and the gym lockers were bigger, so that's where it happened often.
I was tall the entire time.
No, I think I've told this before, but I from 7th into 8th grade I grew 10 inches. I went from 4'10" to 5'8" in one summer, basically. My knees still have not recovered, like from the growing pains.
That's a lot. I was like 6 feet tall from
birth
feet on, basically. Yeah. But then, and peaked at 6'2". So it was really fun in 7th grade basketball. It stopped, and after that, it was just, that was it.
That's amazing. But anyway, Brock Burke, Hoffman, Zimmerman, Brooks, and Dylan Covey's down here at the bottom. None of these guys are. Did we talk about Kikuchi?
You just mentioned the name that I care most about. We did not talk about Kikuchi. He's going to get ownership at 54. This isn't even who I wanted, but he's going to get ownership because of the White Sox and because he's 5,400. He was 7,500 in his last start.
Yeah, he's been. You mentioned enigmatic or a conundrum for Tanaka. Kikuchi's right up there. He has been one of those pitchers. One, with the way Seattle's treated him, like the way they've done sort of the protection by being an opener and being only out there for 3 innings and only throwing 6 pitches and then letting him throw 110. It's been really strange, but he's also just shown a variety of different approaches to pitching. He's still young, has talent, so I can see that. So you're not going to Dylan Covey, are you?
Yeah, absolutely. At Seattle.
September baseball.
The flat minimum.
Yeah.
So, the Seattle's already running out like what amounts to a AAA lineup. That might even be nice in explaining it like that. Let's see. They were 5th in strikeout rate against righties. Active roster. Let me double check it. I have it here in front of me. They are 5th in strikeout rate. 92 weighted runs created plus, 176 ISO. He's 4K. Like, I've played a lot worse guys than Dylan Covey at 4K, that's for sure. I mean, real garbage stuff. Whatever they trot out in Colorado, Chichi Gonzalez in Colorado for 4,200 or something.
Oh, did you go there?
Oh, yeah. Of course. I'll play just about anything at 4K. This is about as good as it gets unless there's a pricing mistake. I wouldn't be shocked if he's my most exposed pitcher.
46, what are you saying? 46 strikeouts in 51 innings at AAA on the year. 39 strikeouts in 55 innings at major league level for Covey. You're going to get me on board with Dylan Covey. This is going to be amazing. I
think he's going to be like highly owned.
This is one of those things I will be intrigued to see his ownership percentage, Kikuchi, and then Cole, right? Yep. Because if you try to get Cole, you need to consider either Seattle's lefty or Covey, right? You need to have those as your considerations. If you're talking about Alcantara and Odorizzi, I don't know if that's the matchup I want, but Alcantara and Odorizzi, or Alcantara and you mentioned before Hauser, maybe you get away from it a little bit, but Hauser 50. It's a fun slate. I think as much as the pitching prices are a little bit wacky on DK, I think this will be a fun one to see what projections spit out, what Cruncher or lineup builder, the Awesemo lineup builder spits out as we start to construct. I do want to quickly run through some Yahoo prices here just to see if there's anything different over there in how we can approach. Cole is most expensive at $64. All right, so $64 for Garrett Cole. Remember, it's a $200 budget, so you're already talking about more than 1/4 of your budget on one pitcher. Morton is $48, so you're saving $16.
Even if Trout plays, I think that's the spot.
Yep. I would agree with you there. Odorizzi's 36. Hauser is 36. Alcantara is 36.
I probably like Alcantara at 36 the most of those three guys.
Yep, I would agree. And Covey is 25. So Covey, the minimum over there as well for pitchers specifically. Who am I missing? There's somebody that we were talking about before. Tanaka's 38. Oh, they have Derek Rodriguez. I don't know if it's Rodriguez or Beatty who's starting. I'll check momentarily.
I don't even. It probably doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's fair. Brock Burke, 28. Duffy, he's going to get lit up by the Astros at $28. But
I did not realize that Dylan Covey was 28 years old.
Yeah, he's one of the older young pitchers in Major League Baseball.
I knew that he was old-ish.
Yep. You were said like 25, 26, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. How about offenses? We've talked about some of the crap-ass pitchers on this slate and have probably intimated where we think we will have some ownership when it comes to offenses against them. I just said I feel as though Houston's going to light up Danny Duffy. I was one of the original bandwagon occupants for Danny Duffy. Like, he was one of my favorite prospects and one of the guys I was on from a season-long perspective, and he's just injuries and has not panned out. But Kansas City is plus 315 a year, I think. It's a minus somewhere around there, minus 300 for
I've
Houston.
got minus 353 in front of me.
So there you have it.
Is Duffy the one that missed time cancer?
No, Duffy had, I want to say thoracic outlet problems with his shoulder.
Markel Fultz?
Yeah, exactly. And Matt Harvey was the other one with that. Cancer was Pittsburgh.
It's a Royals pitcher, right?
Yeah, but I'm going to have to figure that out. Yes, you're right, but I don't remember which one it was. I don't think it was Duffy. Maybe it was. You might be right. I'll check.
Royals pitcher cancer.
So this
right? That's how you do this?
Yeah, you're right. Danny Duffy dunks on cancer. You're right.
Yeah, look at that. What a callback. I used to pay like really, really, really close attention to prospects for.
Oh, wait. Well, I don't know if this is him just doing cancer research or not. We'll find out.
Let's just pretend that I'm right.
Okay, fair. No, it's not Duffy, but we'll find out.
Royals prospect cancer.
Major League.
No. It might not even have been a Royal.
I mean, there's Carrasco, which we all remember.
Yeah.
Which is this year.
I mean, Lester, I guess, but that's not who I'm thinking of.
No, I thought it was a Pirate.
I remember a Royal prospect having cancer and taking a step away from the game for like a year or two.
We'll have to figure that out. Maybe we'll poll Dave and team in Slack chat. And
I'm on strategy show tomorrow.
You'll ask.
I'm on the strategy show today. I'll pose that question and someone will answer it.
Amazing. What offenses are you on? Which one? And obviously things can change. Lineups will matter again very much here on how things pan out. But at first glance, who are the pitchers you want to target?
I mean, clearly we need to at least mildly look at Coors. Padres get Hoffman. Rockies get Lucchesi. I'm going to be happy to have either side of that. Looks to be close to a coin flip game. Lucchesi's minus 120 right now. So, I mean, we're talking, 7 and 6 runs on each side. So avoiding Coors is pretty much impossible. That's going to make our boy Dylan look a little bit better at 4K. A lot of low lines here, a lot of 8s and 8.5s. I mean, the Yankees are standing out right now, 10.5 game total, pretty big favorites, so they should be hanging a pretty big number on K. So I'm happy to grab some Yankees bats. I think that the team that I'm probably going to be most on, unless they have some really weird pricing, is going to be Oakland.
Royals rookie left-hander Tim Hill looked in the mirror and hardly recognized himself. A skeleton, he thought. He needed to take a photo, perhaps just to remind himself one day of the trying time in his life. It was the fall of 2015, and Hill was near completion of 8 months of chemotherapy. So I don't know if Tim Hill is the person you were thinking of, but
it wasn't. But I did really feel like I was listening to a book on Audible right there.
There you go. There, that's what I do. All right. I think obviously the Yankees stand out, Rockies stand out. What I will be intrigued by is this mid-tier bats like the Dodgers, the Indians, the Nationals. What ownership we start to see on stacks there. to see if we have some upside against a Syndergaard or against an Odorizzi to get a blow-up spot, right? Like to get that where just things go horribly wrong for them. Syndergaard, I'd love to see him face a team that runs a little bit more than Dodgers do on a typical basis. But who knows who's catching? Because that could throw a major wrench into everything. Syndergaard might just leave the mound. Be like, screw this, I'm not throwing this guy. But nonetheless, I think there's a lot of options here, which is a fun slate. Baseball with the pricing, DK, all of them can get a little murky this time of year where the plays are the plays and you see who the pitchers are and you have to figure out offense around it. I think we have some options at different price points here, which makes it a lot more fun for lineup construction purposes. Any final thoughts around this slate or anything going on at awesemo.com you want to share with our listeners?
Get yourself some Oakland bats tomorrow. Only Semien and Olsen over 5K. They're going to have a monster total in Texas against the lefty. They are a 6th-ranked offense in weighted runs created plus against lefties and a 209 ISO this season. So if they can possibly go overlooked because of Coors, enjoy that. Let's see, what have we got coming up this lovely Friday?
Yeah, there you go. You're getting there.
And slowly but surely. Loaded schedule tomorrow. We'll have the strategy show with myself and Adam. NFL strategy show with Manny Laura and Chris Randone. Sports betting show, Ben Rasa and Jordan Frank at noon. Yahoo NFL strategy show at 1. Alex and Nolan. Deeper dive at 6. Live before lock at 7. We've got a ton of content tomorrow.
I assume that's 5 and 6, right?
Yes. Deeper dive at 5. Right, okay. Live before lock at 6. No Laffy on the deeper dive, giving him a reprieve since he's on just about everything right now.
He gets married and he goes soft. I mean, what?
And then on the contrary, guest TBD, recording date TBD.
That's my favorite. It's my favorite DFS tout right there is TBD.
Yeah, it's I'm not entirely sure when that's going to happen. Actually, no, hold on. 2 p.m. 2 p.m. Breaking news. 2 p.m. Eastern time Saturday. On the contrary, this is bad, but I don't know this guy's name.
You don't? What do you have a Twitter handle?
At Lord Reeves. It's Rich.
Oh yeah, Rich Hibar. Yep.
Okay. Not familiar.
He is fairly big in the season-long fantasy. I would say he worked with Silva a lot. So
okay. I'm not an NFL guy. People know that at this point.
Lord Reeves over on Twitter. He has the Zach Morris avatar on Twitter. He has Zach Morris with the everyone will know that. Yeah. So that's one of my favorite things on Twitter is when people don't use their own image and then you slowly seep into your brain that that's who the person is. So now Rich Rebar is in fact Zach Morris. So that is how my life will go on from here as we go forward. So great stuff. Check out awesemo.com. If you're not yet a member, we still have the promo code earlybird. One word gets you 50% off. Honestly, all of the shows have a promo code, so you can get in multiple different ways for 50% off. And I said it before, and I mean it. The social guys are constantly pumping content over on Twitter, specifically also on Facebook. If you're over there, there are giveaways, and you can get 3 months. You can even get up to a year of Awesemo content, and that is not only worth the cost of the admission to Slack chat and projections and all the other things, but also the potential for added on, obviously, winnings, hopefully, as you use the content and learn how to use the content properly. So check that out. Check out Josh. You want to check him out on Twitter. Are you at Josh Engelman? No,
I am. I'm really creative. That's been my handle for everything forever. I've got
it on
Twitter. You. I've got it on Facebook. I've got the Gmail. I cornered the market on it from the beginning.
I am Dan Strafford most everywhere. I'm D Strafford a couple of places. I have an awful AOL Instant Messenger name from many moons ago that I still have as logins for like my Verizon account, which is really awkward. Where I have to like share it with my brother. He's like, "Is this for real? Is this really what this is your login?"
I was Joshua Engelman on AIM like in college, which made me sound awful. I probably
pretentious as all hell.
Which was not the case at all after someone spoke to me for 5 seconds.
I was looking for Joshua Engelman. I don't know who the hell you are, but
I don't get called Joshua all that often, especially now. I had a history teacher in 8th grade that insisted on it. and my parents or aunts and uncles if I did something wrong. That was
that was same with Daniel for me. I will get occasionally at work because my work email is daniel.strafford at the day job. So someone will be like, hey, Daniel. I'm like, you don't know me clearly because you're calling me Daniel. That's fine.
Some professors in college too, most of them of some sort of international descent would go full Joshua pretty regularly.
You never want to go full Joshua. But nonetheless, check out Josh over on Twitter at Joshua Engelman. We should check if that's taken. That should be your own.
If it's not, I should get it right now.
Your own troll account. Just troll yourself. At Josh Engelman, find me at Dan Strafford, also equally as creative. And of course, Osmo_com, Osmo NFL. There's somebody there, isn't there? I'm gonna have
account suspended.
Good on us. We got to find out exactly why it's suspended. And find, of course, the DFS Early Bird available on iTunes, YouTube, all the different places, and Monday through Saturday. So you get EMAC and Adam if EMAC is recovered. The flu has done him wrong. He was saying he slept for 13 hours and then need another nap. So EMAC, I hope you're better. Hope you're back tomorrow morning on none other than the DFS Early Bird presented by Osmo.com.